Hello everybody, today's Tuesday the 18th, which means the release of Tangled Paths. This is the second update of the second half of the second season of the Living World. I'll talk about it a bit for you guys today, what we can expect from the patch. I am sad to say it feels a lot smaller in scope than the previous patch we had, which added all this incredible stuff, a really awesome new instance glint's lair, the library, a whole bunch of story, an entire new map. This one is far smaller in scope, seems much more to be setting up for the next patch, but still offers expansions on the things they began in Echoes of the Past. So let's jump straight in. Last patch they introduced to us the idea of the Luminescent and Carapace Gear, which is a new armor set you can get in the game, has nothing to do with the gem store, and you acquire through completing the new content. I never really explained in the previous patch video we did how this mechanic works, so I'll sit down and talk to you guys about it now. For completing this episode of the Living World, your ultimate reward, before you do any achievements or any stuff like that, is a box where you get to choose light, medium, or heavy, shoulders in the last patch and gloves in this patch. Once you've got those, you can wear them straight away. You can select from a few varieties of stat combinations and wear them, but by getting them, it also unlocks a collection for you, which requires you to go out and get a bunch of other items. In the previous patch, these involved killing a bunch of the Morgan bosses, which were spawning in the new map, as well as some other kind of interesting things. Bizarrely, one of the things you had to do was collect a random item associated with a starter event in Caledon Forest, where you're supposed to collect these items, these spores, and give them to an NPC for event credit. But you're meant to hold on to it and instead take it into the Silver Waste, deeper into the jungle, and imbue it somewhere there. So this patch, the same thing is happening again, except previously we were going for shoulders. This patch we go for the gloves, and it's the same process. You're going to complete your story, get the base gloves, and then go around grabbing a bunch of these new items. Again, it's requiring you to kill Morgan bosses. The items needed are different, and personally, I'm not sure if the items they're requiring you to get are going to involve us fighting all new bosses or what. I have a hunch it could be involved with the only rarely spawning bosses like the Annihilator and so forth. But again, as I had an issue with the last patch where I can't play with the Zergs, I don't really know where you get this stuff from. I did take the time in this patch to look at the far end of the Silver Waste, where the big, giant, mysterious boss is, the Tangled Vine area, and it looks no different. I don't know whether at the later ends of the meta event things have changed, been expanded on, made it a little bit harder, but so far it looks rather the same as it did before. Just with extra loot sort of expanded in there. For example, you can now also buy the gloves as well as the shoulder piece from the generic vendors in the Silver Waste, who will continue to have their wares expanded over the patches. The ultimate reward for completing all of the achievements is still Sinister Stat Ascended Gear. This was a change that happened more last patch, but I never really talked about on the channel. This is the idea that now you can get Ascended trinkets, your rings and accessories, no back piece, no amulet, but you can get Ascended quality stat combos from completing Living World achievements. This was something I really liked. Honestly, I hadn't bothered doing a bunch of these supposed hard mode achievements for the first half of Season 2 because I had very little incentive to. Now though, they're offering Ascended gear for doing it. For example, I had made my Nomad Warrior previously, and there was no Ascended Nomad's gear for his trinket, so he was stuck with exotic stuff. The patch came out, and suddenly I was really keen on doing these achievements and getting all caught up. So it was Nomads for the first half of Season 2, and the stat set that's currently rolling out is Sinister. So last patch we got Kaith's Blossom, I believe, unless that was this patch. But this patch we get another Sinister set Ascended gear, which is great. This is the new stat set associated with the Silver Waste. Basically the best pure offensive glass Condi set that's been put in the game. It probably won't get any better than that. So before I go all formal and we end up looking at the patch notes here, talking about other stuff, I do want to say the story is disappointingly short. In my opinion, it is the shortest story patch we have had in all of Season 2, and you can't run away from this. That means there are not many repeat achievements to do. Some people may consider this a blessing, of course, but even I, who plays things very slowly and tries to get the most out of all the dialogue I possibly can, I still felt a bit blindsided when it ended so suddenly. That said, the story itself, which I will not spoil in this video, was interesting and is a payoff for those of us who have been speculating. It's nice for the community to say, it looks like this might happen in the story, and then it actually does happen in the story. You know, the thing that people are excited to happen actually happens. So I hope I'm being vague enough there, because there's so many story threads flying around right now. I did enjoy what the story had to offer and the direction they went. I just guess it's disappointing to see they get fatigued and worn out so fast. Anyway, pushing away the negativity of the story's length, the map has been expanded. As the patch notes will describe, explore the newly discovered Labyrinth and find nightmare pods full of rich rewards. Nightmare fragments can be found in small pods throughout this maze. This maze is below the silver waste, just a portion of the silver base. Some of the story will take place there, and it is accessible beneath the map. And they say combine these nightmare fragments with a bandit skeleton key to open the greater nightmare pod. The Greater Nightmare Pod contains rare and masterwork gear, dragonite ore, and a chance to discover new recipes for bountiful and furious maintenance oils, sharpening stones, and tuning crystals. So again, they're expanding our options as far as these utilities go. I haven't played with these new sets just yet, so I don't know whether they'll worm their way into the meta or not, but minor things like this that expand our options are always exciting to an extent, right? I must be honest, again, I'm not sure whether it's because it's tied to Zerg stuff, and you need to have the meta fully pushed, for example, you need to kill the Morgan bosses, but I actually have not been in the Labyrinth as a part of the regular map, and maybe I'm just missing something, but it definitely looks like your access to the Labyrinth might be tied to the meta event, which I can't push as a solo player. So for me, all I see is a closed off entrance that I can't get inside, and I do think it's smart for ArenaNet to design it this way, because it means that there is more reward to pushing that meta event and being successful at it, beyond just, you know, all the little bonus chests you get for completing the events and killing the bosses in the first place. My only experience of traveling around in the Labyrinth was during the story, and I will say it does look very pretty down there. I'm just not sure how the rewards work or the events that will proc while you're doing the open world version will really feel. That said, the Labyrinth isn't the only part of the new map, technically. You'll find that there's one of these script holes you can press F on, and your character will actually burrow underground and appear somewhere else a little bit higher up. There is a small new area to explore. You should see some footage in the background of me participating in some dynamic events with a Char who is using the Super Saiyan hair, and if you complete his dynamic event chain, he will allow you to, for free, enter one of these like mecha devourer suits, very similar to the ones you see in Edge of the Mists, and they do seem very OP and very fun. I just wish I could have run around in the Labyrinth while using it. Moving on, let's look through the patch notes. They do say that beyond Silver Waste stuff, beyond Living World stuff, they fixed a bug that prevented players from assigning, removing, or reassigning healing, utility, or elite skills while in a cosmetic transformation. What does this mean? If any of you run fractals frequently, when you get the Ascalon City fractal, for example, and you turn into the Char, and you realize all of a sudden you can't swap your utilities around, and this is really bad because you've got 3 terrible troll utilities and you really want your Ice Bow to get through the gate at the start. I guess many of you have had that experience before. This is a resolution for that particular bug, and I'm pretty glad to hear it. There have been Black Lion store changes. There is now a Jungle Explorer outfit available and a full new set of Black Lion weapons. This is kind of interesting because they were hinting at it last patch. These are basically a new variety of packed weapons, and they're what you see most packed NPCs wielding in the camp right now in the Silver Waste. So these guys have been running around with them. Some eagle-eyed players actually noticed it very early and said, hey, look at this new weapon set. They do look pretty cool. I immediately started using the staff. That's what you should be seeing in the footage here, but I will also put in me sort of previewing my way through the set for those of you who are interested even further. Lastly, they say that World Tournament finishers are available to support your favorite region in the World Tournament Finals for PvP. Players purchasing a winning region's finisher before the finals will also receive celebration boosters after the event. I appreciate what they're trying to do here. They're trying to get more players interested in the spectating and so forth of PvP. Do I think that this is going to work? No, not really. But, you know, it's worth them exploring their options. Anyway, that's about it for the patch, guys. As I say, you know, last week I managed to do 4 videos in one day on it. This time, a rather short little summary one. I do think we've been a little bit crippled here because I don't have a Zerg to run around with and see how the Silver Waste stuff scales. That was sort of an issue last week as well. And, you know, this could just come up as long as the Silver Waste remains a big focus. But we'll see how it goes. I think you can predict with pretty good accuracy what a lot of the stuff means. And I'll do an update talking about what happened in the story, which is pretty major, I'll say that much, sometime tomorrow or the day after. And a little bit of other news about the channel, I guess. Someone did go out of their way to make a subreddit. Now, there's not too many people there, but I thought I'd let you guys know, and as long as people want to use it, I will support it. I've already left a fair few posts over there, so if you want to check it out, there'll be a link in the description. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. I'll see you next time.